Natives of a small, isolated town defend themselves against strange underground creatures, which are killing them off one by one. I'm your host, Donnell, and with me, as always, is Robert. This is episode 194 of Watchin It, and we are covering the 1990 hit, Tremors.
Hit? Classic.
Classic.
For sure.
Classic.
Hit, I don't know.
It spawned 7 sequels, Robert.
Hatched 7 sequels. Yeah, spawned. Yes. They couldn't stop. That's the true story. One man's determination to just keep making these movies.
Making them. Hey, it gets them a solid paycheck, okay?
Well, let's talk about them.
Yes.
Real quick here. January 1990, we had Tremors come out.
Yep.
6 years later, Tremors 2 Aftershock came out in 1996.
Yep.
Followed by Tremors 3 Back to Perfection
in 2001,
which I thought was like, oh, they were perfecting their thing. No, that's the name of the town.
Yep.
In 2001.
I was gonna say, and that is when I stopped watching Tremors. I watched those 3, and as far as I knew, that was Tremors.
I remember there were flying ones at some point. I don't think I remember I watched any of the sequels.
I watched Tremors 1, 2, and 3, and also the Tremors TV show. I did watch that too. But no, they kept going with the movies.
Yep. We had Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. 2004. We had Tremors 5, Bloodlines in 2015. So it would be
11 years later.
Hiatus,
and my thing is this: I really feel like Bloodlines. I feel like I think 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have the same writer or have correct with some of the original team. Bloodlines and on, I'm like, oh, you guys we need some money, and we can just keep bringing up the Tremors franchise. And by you guys, one guy, which we will get into.
2018, it's not Tremors 6, it's just Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. Then we have Tremors, Shrieker Island in 2020. Yeah.
And
then 2003, way deep in there, we had Tremors, the TV series, which was 13 episodes before it got canceled.
Yep.
And there was also a failed 2018 series, which they shot a pilot for.
I did not know about that.
Kevin Bacon returning. And
really?
it did not get picked up.
Okay.
It was shot for Max, and they just didn't pick it up and run with it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Tremors series as a whole is not like some fantastic thing, but I feel like if you get Tremors with Kevin Bacon, I feel like we get this is I feel like this is due for either a restart or bring it in, but bring in some high budget, bringing Kevin Bacon, like really do a job and like revitalize the franchise. Yes.
So $10 million budget, $16.7 million at the box office.
Yep.
It's pretty good. 1990.
Yeah, I'm about to say you say that today, and like, oh, that's a flop. But in 1990, like hey, you made a profit. You did all right.
A brisk 96 minutes long.
Yeah.
This was very refreshing. Have a nice hour and 30-minute, fast-paced, well-paced movie.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into more, but I was like, I think you started this movie, and I think it's like maybe 12 minutes in, and the monsters are here.
You're into the races real fast.
None of this, 30 minutes of setting up and who's this and that. And they're like, no, we got monsters to get to, folks.
They don't waste time with subplots and stuff like that. They get right. There are some subplots in here, but they wipe them away pretty fast. 7.1 on IMDb, well deserved.
Yes,
I think there's a little nostalgia baked in there, but I think this still holds up.
Still holds up, but there are things in it. I'm like, this is also a movie of its time.
Yep,
of the 90s.
Yep. Written and directed by Ron Underwood. We think we've talked about him before, but he did City Slickers, Heart and Souls.
Okay,
a whole bunch of television.
Yep. Now I remember talking about him because I remember when we looked at him, I was like, oh, this is the man who did Tremors.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know who we've definitely talked about though is S. Wilson, because we covered Short Circuit.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote Short Circuit 1 and 2. He also did Ghost Dad, Wild West, and Batteries Not Included.
This dude wrote or was like a part of my childhood.
Absolutely he was. Yeah.
Even though, I mean, he just says other and story consultant, and even though I hate this franchise, even The Land Before Time, I watched that as a kid, and he had a part in that.
All 32 movies.
This man had a hand in my childhood with this movie. I did not realize that.
He has another guy that he works with, Brett Maddox. They basically everything that he wrote with the other guy.
Okay.
S.S. Wilson and Brett Maddox. I don't know if they're Siamese twins or something, and they're just like they write them together and they get credit for everything.
Yep. No, yeah, it looks. I mean, it almost looks identical.
Let's
He
talk
has
about.
something called Deers in the Works, though. Don't know. That was before they teamed up, though.
Look, I'm not following his career. Okay, I'm like SS Wilson or a Brent Maddox joint coming up. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Their time has kind of passed, you know.
The last thing either of them did was Tremors 4. So
Yeah. Let's talk about the actors. Valentine McKee, played by Kevin Bacon.
No, even I mean, it's friggin'.
We don't have the time to go
Bacon.
through his. I mean, he's got a game based on him of how many degrees of separation to get to Kevin Bacon from any other actor. I would like to note that he has a movie coming up. Or no, sorry, he just had a movie come out in 2023 called Toxic Avenger.
Oh,
they remade Toxic Avenger.
I didn't know.
And Kevin Bacon is in it, and I had no idea.
I knew they were remaking it.
And I have to go check that out.
I thought it was later though. I thought it was this year. I love.
That's
man,
some real. That's a real Psycho Gorman shit right there.
I
man.
know you just said it, but I really do love the fact that you click on Kevin Bacon, you go to his Wikipedia page, you scroll down, and part of his Wikipedia page is 6 degrees of Kevin. It's a known fact. This isn't just something people might like. No, it's on his page. Yeah. It has its own Wikipedia page.
It's a cultural phenomenon, man. Playing Earl Bassett is Fred Ward, is our second major lead. He was in The Right Stuff, Chain Reaction, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yep.
Fantastic. Yep. He unfortunately died in 2022.
Did he? I did not see that.
May 8th, 2022. He was 74. He passed away. Unfortunately, we're not going to get him in another Tremors movie.
No.
Though I would love to see him in one.
Yeah.
He's a great character actor that I've seen. Yeah. You just know his face.
About to say, that's the thing is, I remember when we were talking about doing Tremors, and then I was like, yeah, who was in that besides Kevin Bacon and Reba McEntire? And I was like, Fred Ward, who is that? And then as soon as I clicked on his picture, I was like, oh, Fred Ward. Yeah, like he is not a household name, but you know him as soon as you see his face.
Yep. Let's talk about Finn Carter, who plays the female lead in this.
Yep.
She did not do anything else of any note, and I don't know why.
I think because one thing I found while looking up the people is I think her life may have taken a downturn because I found mugshots pictures, and I'm like, I'm guessing things did not go so well for Finn after.
She got high off that Tremors money. Yeah, that was all she wrote. Anyway, Michael Gross playing Burt Gummer. Fantastic actor.
Actor, and the man who keeps the Tremor franchise going.
You know what? Look, Family Ties.
Yes.
125 episodes. Cultural icon of a show.
100%.
He made all the money he needed, and I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want after.
Which is kick out a Tremors movie.
And he's been doing a lot of Christmas movies in the last few years.
He kind of, look at him.
Yeah.
he screams.
I'm just saying
like,
he could show up in a Christmas movie at some point in the future. I'm just saying.
Maybe we get a Tremors Christmas. I'm just kidding.
And Grammy award-winning artist Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire.
Her hair was out of control in this movie. She was super young.
Yep.
This was her first movie.
Yep.
That she ever did. She did the show Reba, which was 125 episodes. She's got a new show out called The Hammer.
Yep.
She just been doing a lot of TV. She's got a few movies mixed in there. I think she just made the successful switch.
Yeah.
From recording artist to being an actress.
In credits to this movie though, her song plays during the credits. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, she got her song in there. I'm like, was it part of her contract to get her song? Like, did they just pick, or was she in it because they wanted her song and they casted her? Or like, I just wonder how that was worked out. Or when she was casted, they're like, hey, let's get us one of your songs, help things out.
There's a couple of the minor actors that I want to mention as well.
Okay.
Victor Wong, who plays the shop owner, right? Yep. He was in Gremlins and stuff. He's a character actor,
Yep.
He unfortunately has passed away as well. In the most overshadowed death I can think of, he died September 12th, 2001.
Ooh.
No one was paying attention. I'm afraid.
No one.
I thought this dude was still alive.
Yeah.
That's just because nobody noticed when he died.
Yeah.
He died on the wrong week.
Yeah.
I would like to see a list of other major events that happened around that time that just got under the radar because September 11th was such a big, massive event.
I met someone and I was like, man, that must have made your birthday rough for a while. I met someone whose birthday was 9/11. They're just like, Yeah, that birthday kind of got screwed.
No, my best friend at the time, his son was born on September 12th. And I bought him all the newspapers that I could get my hands on of like all the different things, and just all of them said at the top, "War." Just like it's just like the whole front page of the paper was just WAR across it. Like,
Yeah.
the shit is getting real. There's gonna be 20 years of this. We are getting deep. And the actress who plays Mindy is Adriana Richards, who plays the girl from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
and The Lost World. Yeah.
Well, so
not her first movie, but early work. Yeah.
So then I'm just going to bring this up.
Jurassic Park was early work too, but you know.
Yeah, I was just going to bring this up because Jurassic Park does this, and then we even continued this with even current stuff. Is what do you think? Why do people think, hey, we're making a monster movie? Let's get some kids up.
Like, I mean, you gotta have kids. I mean,
do you though? Like Jurassic Park, like why were all three of the original Jurassic Parks and the later ones, kids heavily involved?
Definitely when you go to Jurassic Park, which I've rewatched recently because it's popping up on Netflix right now, all the Jurassic Parks.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you've just had a death, and that's why everybody's coming to the island.
Yeah,
and you've got a hurricane, like a tropical storm coming. This is not a place for kids.
Exactly.
When the park's open, bring the kids in, then have something go wrong, whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't, when you're testing everything and evaluate, you don't bring the kids to like the business meeting.
No.
You know, that's what Jurassic Park is based on. It's like, it's a very formal business meeting of like, we got to get the people to sign off or we're toast.
Yeah, because I just was thinking, the current, what is it? Monsterverse movies, both Kong and Godzilla. Like, here's some kids. I'm like, why? Why are kids here? I mean, I'm not saying kids don't exist in the world, but they said kids, monsters, they need to be shoved to the side. I'm sorry, you guys need to be in a shelter somewhere, not right front line. But anyways, back to Tremors.
Normally, when we talk about movies, we talk about, okay, did it get buried, whatnot. This had no competition going on at the time. Glory was around, but it wasn't really competing with this.
No.
December 22nd, Tango and Cash came out, but that's not really like a big hit either.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed that movie. If you go back to November 22nd, you had Back to the Future 2, but that's too far back.
Yeah, that's way too far
back. That's post-Christmas. This is just...
this is
just a bad time to release a movie. But it just didn't have anything it was competing with.
No.
I couldn't find anything that was of note that I would be like, this killed it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it just flew solo and didn't catch lightning.
I mean, it made its budget. It made profit.
Its budget. It's
a
profit.
It's a classic. It's a cultural hit, I think. And it spawned sequels and TVs. I'm sure there's like a lucrative toy market out there or something for I would get a pop toy graboid. If they had a pop toy they have got to have a pop toy graboid out there.
Yes.
Like one for each of the different types, the flying ones and all that stuff, like for sure. And surprisingly, no supernatural connections. Not a single connection to the Supernatural series.
Man, really? I mean, everything. Just like you can do 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I feel like you almost can do 6 degrees.
Well, you think you'd be able to do 1 degree. I'm sure there's plenty of like one step removed from Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break there, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the plot of this movie.
All right, Robert. So before we jump into this movie, I like the genre that I found for it. It was a monster comedy horror movie, is what they put it down as.
Comedy, maybe? That's a stretch. Comedy's a stretch. And also, I feel like... I mean, I guess it kind of does have that earnest kind of feel to it.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I definitely see the horror, though it's not super horrific.
I was say I wouldn't really see that's the thing. I was say I'm not sure if I'd say horror, just because like just the musical cues.
The music was super earnest.
Yeah,
it was not the right music, but they were definitely doing the thing where like the camera was following them across the ground, kind of thing. Like they were trying to do that, like Friday the 13th, like Freddy Krueger, maybe kind of horror thing. But the music was.
That's what I'm going to say. It's
Griswold Christmas Vacation.
Yes. Like that's why I was like, I don't know if I can really take this as a horror, just because even if the what's going on is horrific, when you cue up some, like you said, Griswold Vacation music over it, you're just like, I don't.
You know what the score reminded me of was Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see some of that.
And especially with all like the wide open shots that they had, I was like, I felt very Crocodile Dundee in the first 5 minutes of this.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, 100%.
But this was shot in Nevada.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's about, fake town, but still, it's about a town in Nevada. And yeah, I mean, let's just jump
Perfection
into this.
is the name of the town.
Perfection.
Can we talk about the other fake town, Bixby?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to get to Bixby.
Everybody wants to go to Bixby. And the one thing I wrote down,
made up town for this
both
movie.
of these are fake towns, but like just going off of Nevada as a whole, I'm like, because everyone's like, yeah, you got to go to Bixby. They got more stuff there. You know, it's apparently like perfect as a little podunk. I'm like, Bixby can't be much more. It's in Nevada. The only places in Nevada that are anything are Vegas and Reno. So I'm just like, there's no way Bixby's more prepared than that. Perfect.
They got 2 stores.
They got
Bixby.
2 stores.
They got a Walmart. They got...
You know what? And one more thing before we jump into this, and it made me just realize like how much more work you have to do as a writer these days for monster/horror movies and that sort of stuff. Is watching so much of this movie, I was like, you know how much of this movie could have been solved by a cell phone?
Yeah. Well, they said they
couldn't
get signal because they're in the middle of
nowhere.
nowhere.
And it's also 1990. It's earlier, but I'm just saying, like, if Tremors happened today, it would not be hour and 30. It would have been a 20-minute. Someone's like, "Oh my gosh!" and everybody gets in the room.
No,
and
you just would have had a scene where the dispatcher was like, "A monster, really?" Bye.
Yeah, but then you got your cell phone. You pull out the camera, film some of it.
Yeah, true. Okay, there you go.
I'm just saying, a cell phone gets introduced into this movie, and suddenly, and that was quick.
Odd start to this movie, just a guy peeing off a cliff.
Yep. Hey, I mean, if you're going to start somewhere, just start with Kevin Bacon peeing. I got to say, like I said, this is a movie of its time.
Yeah, you know what? There was another movie that started out with someone peeing, The Waterworld.
Yep. 100%. Waterworld is another one of my,
that's a good movie. That's a good movie. Everyone rags on it because it messed up his budget or something. That's a fine movie.
Yep, I've always been a fan of Waterworld.
Perhaps it will get covered sometime in the future. Yeah.
But anyways, I was just gonna say, like I said, this movie is a product of its time. I don't know the last time I've seen a jean jacket shirt.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon is just wearing with the sleeves torn off because, of course.
Yeah.
And I was like,
his arm should just be sunburned to hell out there in the
Nevada.
Oh yeah,
he was living in Nevada. But yeah, we're introduced to Kevin Bacon as Val for Valentine and his partner Earl. And honestly, this is my question. Like, I started thinking, like, how did these two?
Yeah, because Earl's like 20, 30 years on him.
Yeah, I'm like, how did these two meet?
Yeah,
get together and now in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, working as handy. I was like, I want that backstory.
I need like a scene where they both had their sleeves rolled up and they both had like ranger tattoos. Yeah, like they met in the military,
something like that,
something like
to connect it. Because I'm just like, how did these?
Or they were in jail or something. Like there's a seedy backstory to how these two got paired up for sure, and why they're working these jobs and not regular jobs.
Yeah, exactly, off the books for sure, just in the middle of nowhere.
So it starts out with they wake up Earl, who's asleep in the truck, and they're like, oh, let's make some breakfast, and that's when we're introduced to like they're gonna be doing the, I guess some people call it Rochambeau, paper rock scissors thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, it's midday. You don't have time for breakfast.
Yeah. I know.
Breakfast was
the
hours
sun is
ago.
Up and
like it is
fully 100%. I'm just like, yeah. I like I said, they figure out breakfast or not lack thereof, and then they get going off to one of their jobs, and then there's another thing. Yeah, different times. They're talking about their jobs, and he's like, blah 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 is paying us $50. I'm like, $50 for 2 guys?
Yeah.
$25 a piece, and that's for the whole job. I'm like,
I mean, the job takes an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Another product of the town. Oh, we see a girl. Let's veer off the road towards her. A woman. This was lightly but acceptable misogynistic.
Yes.
Because they were definitely like, once shit hit the fan, they're like, she is the smartest person in the room. She is the expert.
To the point that
let's defer to what she's
But what
saying,
I love is the part where even she is like, why do you keep asking me? Because
she's just she's a college student.
Yes, college
doing
student.
Seismology, geology work. Yeah.
And this is definitely out of her wheelhouse. This is zoology, if anything. And they're like, what's it doing? And she's like, I don't know any more than you guys. But yeah, I do like that they just start referring to her for everything. So real quick, they see this girl, they introduce another thing that for me, I was like, maybe this is part of the reason why I thought this movie was cool, because I wanted one of these so bad, is after they meet our female lead, Rhonda, when she waves them off, she's wearing, You know what a casino data bank watch is, Robert?
I do not know what a casino
one of those
data bank.
old-fashioned watches.
Casio.
Sorry, yeah, Casio.
Yes, I did have one of those.
Oh, I wanted one so bad.
I don't know
you
were hot shit in school if you had a Casio calculator
with
watch.
a calculator. Yeah, and she's wearing one. I was like, ooh, that's it. That's what I want. I wanted one so bad as a kid.
She never used it once.
Never used. I mean, what was supposed to use it for?
I don't know. Calculating the density of the rocks in the mountains or something. I don't. They could have found a reason. But anyway, they go into the town. Population 14 people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we saw all 14 people that they're referring to there.
Okay, so
there's the two guys.
We don't count her.
Do they count? Does she count?
She doesn't. She's a student. I'm not counting her. We got the two guys because they had a house. They had a trailer where they were staying. They packed up. Then we have Reba McEntire and her husband. That's 4. We have, and I want to talk about this. We have the random teenage boy who's living there with no parents.
We don't know where the parents are. Yeah. We don't know what's going on.
It didn't seem like Melvin had a family. But anyways, so we had Melvin, that's 5.
They dumped him out there and we're like, this is a piece of shit kid. We're just leaving him in the desert.
So we had Melvin, that's
as
5.
As far away from Bixby as possible.
We had, what's the owner of the store?
Yep.
We had the doctor and his wife, so that gets us up to, we're at 8. We had the one farmer, Fred, who lived in a shack. That's 9. I mean, the 2 construction workers, I don't think they were from the town.
We had the little girl and the mom.
Oh, yeah, little girl and the mom. So that gets us to 11. We're missing 3 people. Oh, wait, no. And then 2 more. We have the Reba McEntire and her husband.
You counted them already.
Okay, so we're
at 11.
Let's
say the guy that's on the tower.
Oh, yeah, the guy on the tower.
And then the 2 construction workers.
Are they
so that brings us to 14. But I'm like, the construction workers, I don't think count. I don't think our 2 main characters count.
I think they count. They had a residence.
Do you think they're just going out there every day whenever someone arrives and they're like 15 people? Like 13 people.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, did the doctor and the wife count? Because their house wasn't even built.
Yeah, but they were living there. They were established. They just were like, we're building a house. They were.
All right, we'll say they're loose with the number.
Yeah.
Because they're counting people we don't think they should count. But okay, we meet 14. We meet 14 people.
We met 13
throughout
actually.
This.
Well, okay, yeah. If we count the 2 construction workers, then we actually met 15. But I don't think the construction workers count.
Now, I've done a lot of road trips. I've been to some really isolated places.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet the food in this market, this restaurant market,
is
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I bet the fries and burgers are the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that's made with trans fat, too.
Yeah.
The good
100%.
stuff.
Yeah. There ain't none of this cutting back stuff. They're deep frying it. Delicious. Yeah, so we get to the town. We get to see our 2 handymen get to do their jobs, which some of them I'm like, I don't know if that's even.
They're basically the municipal workers of this unincorporated town.
Yeah, just pretty much it. They're
the trash men. They're the plumbers.
They come and empty out, which that's the worst part, and I guess that's what finally broke them. Is they empty out freaking septic tanks, which that's a job. I mean, someone got to do it, and if that's your job, like more power to you. And I'm glad you're making money, but like just no.
I've done a lot of crazy things, Donnell.
Mm-hmm.
Toilet beer couldn't do it.
Well, it's not. I mean, it was just. It was an old toilet.
Yeah,
it wasn't connected. It's not like it was still
something
somewhere.
About it.
I mean, I get you to some degree, but
me.
I also just feel like, like if it was in a house or something, it was clear this toilet hasn't been connected to plumbing in a long time.
Probably because it's disaster. It's at the dump.
Yeah, no, I'll join you. I'm not drinking the toilet beer.
But these guys have been talking. They're not happy with their lives. They're not making much money.
Yep.
Then they're doing the septic tank and the pipe explodes.
Yep.
And they just start loading their shit up.
We're
out.
It's over.
We're going to Bixby.
We're going to Big Bixby.
Yeah. They got $3 to their name.
Bixby in this movie, like this is the place.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I wish we could have gotten there one day.
The Bixby is 50 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
They're going in a truck that gets half a mile to the gallon.
Yes.
And they got $3 to their name. Well, I mean, look, gas prices were like 50 cents.
But I guarantee there's no gas station between Perfection and Bixby either. Yeah. They're not getting any gas on the way.
I didn't see a gas station in Perfection.
Yeah, neither did I.
They're getting that shipped in like once a week.
So what I got from this movie though is like, you know what this movie is this is another thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the people Perfection would all be screwed, but this movie teaches you one thing: mind your own damn business.
Yeah.
Because they had 3 attempts to get out of this town before shit hit the fan. And they kept going, hey, what's that over there? I'm like, no, keep going. You're leaving this town. Go. I don't care there's a guy up on the fence. I don't care that Fred's sheep are dead. I don't care what the construction workers are doing. Go.
The first dead body they find, so they're leaving town. They see a guy up on a power line.
They think it's a worker at first.
But they recognize the guy. They apparently are still committed to this town. I mean, they're one of the numbers,
I mean, it's such a small town. Because they recognize him by his jacket. And I'm like, I bet you this man wears a jacket every day. This is his jacket. Of course you're going,
By the way, Kevin Bacon's character, right, Val, definitely banging the mom with the daughter. She seems unattached. And he's going to drink wherever water's available. Okay?
No, I can see
the end of this movie should have been like her showing up and being like, you can't get with the dark-haired girl. You got a baby in the oven over here. Anyway, they go up to get him. They find he's dead. And they got to take him back to town. And let me tell you, Donnell, I'm a man of science. My entire life, up to this point, and continuing through the future, 4 days for someone to die without water. Based on this movie. My knowledge of how long someone could live without water is based off the movie Tremors.
Wow.
And that will not change.
I mean, they said 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard it in other shows and movies. I'm just assuming everybody got their information from Tremors.
Tremors is the definitive. When you go to Harvard and you bring this up, well, did you see Tremors 1990? Then there's your answer.
It's in there's a picture of the poster in the textbook, of the biology textbook.
So they bring him back in to the doctor, and as you already said, the doctor's like, he got dehydrated in 3 to 4 days. And that's the first thing, like, how they don't think, I mean, like I said, I guess it's a small town, but how they don't think more, if he stayed up there for 3 to 4 days and died of dehydration, there's definitely something out there. Like, they touch on it a little bit. Like, one of the guys says, well, he was definitely chased up there. And it was like, what? And he stayed up there for 3 days and died? And I'm like, if he did, obviously he did. There's something going
something
on.
That couldn't be chased off with a Winchester rifle.
Exactly. Like,
I would climb down.
Oh, yeah.
I would at least try after 6 hours. I'd try and make a run for it.
Like, definitely, I'm not saying I'd be dead either way, but I'm not staying up there and dying of thirst. Like, eventually I'm just like, oh, it's either run for it or, like I said, die of thirst. I was like, I guess we're gonna run for it and hope for the best. I mean, I'm dead. Don't get me wrong. I'm still dead. Like, I guarantee you that.
I'm not saying that the graboid's not gonna get me. I'm just saying I'm gonna at least try.
Exactly. But anyways, so they bring him back into town, and then once again they decide, all right, we're leaving. Let's go. Come. And so they head out of town again. And once again, it's like, mind your own damn business. But they see that for some reason, some of Fred's sheep are down on the ground. And so let's go see what's going on over there. And I just got to say, Fred, I mean, I know this is a podunk town, but like, Fred is in a shack of a shack. Like his little house, like even his roof is like has a tarp.
He's a true homesteader.
Tarp over it with like rocks holding it down. Like, this is a shack.
Hey, as soon as these crops come in the desert, it's all
What are
good.
these sheep eating?
What are these people doing out here? What are they doing?
Like, they have, what do they do? Like,
this had to be like a mining town or something.
At one point. But I'm just saying, what do the rest of it, besides Walter Chang, who owns the store, I don't know what anybody else does for a job, how they have money. And then I also go back to Walter. How are they paying Walter for whatever he has in his store? Like, how are they paying freaking Val and Earl to do work?
Well, like,
where's this money coming from?
Obviously, you got the construction worker guys. They got a solid union gig.
I still feel like the construction
worker
guys are
assuming
from
that Burt and Reba's character, they've got money from something. I'm not saying it's weird.
Same with the doctor too. He's
got like an army pension or something, or whatnot. The doctor, is obviously he's the doctor. I don't know what the mom with the daughter
single
is doing.
Mom and daughter.
I don't know what the kid's doing. Yeah, there's questions.
There's that. I didn't even think about while I was watching, but definitely like, what are you people doing here?
Anyway, they stop at the farm. They find
Fred's head in the ground, and they immediately jump to there's someone out here killing people. And I mean,
that would be the logical thought process.
I don't know.
Not a monster. underground, but there's a serial killer or something.
I would jump more to wild not a monster. I wouldn't immediately think, tunneling space worms or something. But I would think there's some sort of animal because I'm like, the guy who got dehydrated, like, how the killer do that? And then the other thing is, Fred's like buried in the ground up to his head. I mean, I guess maybe someone would do that, but it just seems a lot more like I wouldn't jump to killer. I jump to animal. There's some sort of wild animal. Once again, I'm not like
definitely if I see the sheep and they're all bloody and stuff, I'm like, well, coyotes or something.
Yeah.
Wolves. There's no wolves in the Nevada desert, but coyotes for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, so once again, because they found another dead person, they gotta go back into town.
Well, first they go and run into the road workers.
Oh yeah, that's before Fred. Actually, yeah.
What are these road workers doing? This road does not have municipal pipes
I
under it.
don't know who. Honestly, I feel like that there's a movie behind these two road workers about what they were really doing out there. Honestly, I don't think they were construction workers. I bet you there's some criminals who buried some money.
They're the real killers, yeah.
Oh no, who buried some money out there 2 decades and then they went to prison, but now they're out and we gotta go get our money, but we can't just be out there digging under this ground. That like this road got built while they were in prison. So they're like, okay, we'll pretend to be construction workers. We'll go get that jackhammer and we'll get there. And then they just got wrapped up in this thing. Like, that's the other movie. It's about these two criminals trying to get their money back.
But then they try and leave town again, and the road's blocked.
Yep.
Because the graboid knocked down the mountain thing.
Yep.
This truck that they have, they don't need a road.
I know. Yeah.
There's open field. They could just drive across, okay? They can get out, yeah.
And that's one thing that this movie does that I just was like, I'm going to need you guys. Like, they do. I need to know, how fast are these worms? Because they make it seem like in a vehicle, you can outrun them.
Yeah.
But then multiple times, they don't just get in the vehicle. Like, there's a bunch of times where there's, okay, well, let's get in the car and go. I know they made some of the mountain patches, like, but you get a huge head start. Even if you can't drive up the road, if you get into the mountain road, they probably can't. They still have to barrel the remote. So you get a huge head start on them because they're not as fast as a truck and stuff. And you get to the mountains and you can walk the mountains. Get out of there.
I feel like I could outrun a graboid.
That's the other thing.
In a sprint.
For a short.
I mean, look, I'm not in great shape. I'm not running for miles.
Yeah.
But like, they're not Usain Bolt speed. I mean, he's the fastest man in the world or whatever. But like, I could outrun a graboid.
Okay.
I could run between some rocks.
Like, can humans out? Because like they do a lot of times where like I'm just like, just run, and they make it seem like the graboid's going to catch them. So
towards the end of the movie, there's several instances where they do just run.
They do. But see, the graboid's strength and speed is very debatable throughout this movie. Because, I mean, we're about to get to it, but I mean, they're capable of pulling houses apart. They're capable of pulling a whole vehicle into the ground. But then other times, it's like they can barely, and they also are pretty quick. It didn't take them that long to pull that vehicle to the ground where, like, they could easily catch someone.
Yeah, lift the entire concrete foundation of a grocery store.
Yeah. Or I think about, there's 2 scenes that almost the exact same thing happens. And in one of them, I mean, like I said, plot armor, main character. But we have the construction worker with his jackhammer who gets his leg wrapped up in the hose. And he is almost instantly pulled away and eaten.
Yeah.
Later on, Rhonda, our female lead, gets her leg wrapped up in some barbed wire, and the graboid like struggles to pull her in. And I'm just like, there's no way this lady is stronger than that construction worker. Yeah. And I'm just like, she should be just as dead as that construction worker.
And it can also like keep a truck from driving off.
Yeah.
For a short moment until they really put the gas on.
They play fast and loose with how strong these graboids are. But anyways, so yeah, they find the road blocked and they head back into town. Also, like, I get this town's in the middle of nowhere, but how many towns have you? Like, I've been to some nowhere towns. I've done not as much as you, but I've done some road trips. I've been in the middle of nowhere, especially I've been in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, and I've driven through some nowhere towns. Like I said, you drive through them.
Yeah.
Like, there's 2 exits. There's at least 2 exits.
Yeah.
You can keep going. If one direction's blocked, I don't
know. There's some that like you veer off the road
and it just ends.
And it just ends at a little town.
Okay.
And it's not a pet. It doesn't. There's no highway or state route that goes through it. Yeah. It is off of the state route or whatever. And those are. You don't normally go to those on a road trip.
Because I've been on one like where you go off the state route and a little ways and you get to town, but the road that you get to the town on eventually veers back to the state route. At least the one. But okay, I guess maybe there's some towns where there's only one way in, one way out. But like everybody, like you already said about their truck, everybody in this town has a truck of some sort.
Yeah.
You don't need a road.
Yeah, everyone here would have a 4-wheel drive vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even the station wagon has a V8 in it.
Yeah.
My mom my parents had one of these Ford station wagons. It was a beast.
Oh, yeah.
V8 engine. It could take down. It has some power. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, this scene, iconic.
Oh, yeah.
Where the station wagon gets swallowed into the ground. Fantastic scene.
Yes, fantastic scene. And I just remember watching this scene. It's one of the scenes I most remember. And the whole time when her husband gets eaten. So, yeah, forgot. The doctor and his wife are away from town and don't know about the craziness going on with the monsters. And so at their house to be. And husband gets eaten first. And one is, he's like, for a second digging to pull him out. And I was like, I get it, traumatic. Your husband, but it's like, there's no way you're going to dig that man out. You need to get going.
She's frantic.
I know. But then she gets in that car. And the whole time I was just like, I was thinking, it's been watching the same. I was like, your husband had the keys, didn't he? I was like, you ain't got no. And then so he reaches for the driver wheel and like, nope, you ain't got no keys. You're screwed. But yeah, just iconic scene. One thing I thought was weird is, and I guess maybe they thought but I feel like they saw the doctor and his wife when they were leaving to go see Fred, or to leave the second time, and then they found Fred, because when they go out to the doctor, they're like, okay, we got to get everybody back here and let's go get the doctor's wife. They go there and they don't find them because they're dead, and they don't see their car, and they're like, oh, they must have left. But I'm like, okay, if there's only one way out of this town, when you left to leave the town officially, they were in the town. You were blocked in by a roadblock.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a plot hole.
I was just like, you should know. I mean, they do find out quickly that they are still in town, just underground. But I was like, you should know there's no way they got out of town because the road was blocked when you went. So I just thought it was weird that they're like, oh, they must have made it out. I'm like, how? You couldn't make it out. And so, yeah. But yeah, they find the car. I feel like it takes them too long to realize it's the car.
Yeah.
Like, they start digging in it. The first thing you see is the Ford logo, which I'm like, right then and there. And there's the car. But then they keep digging. And even once they get the headlights that are still on, they still keep digging. What is this? I'm like, what do you think it is? It's not common for a car to be buried underground. Yeah, I give you that. But I still feel like once I see the Ford logo and the headlights that are still on, I'm like, oh.
And the radio playing.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a car.
That's funny. So yeah, so back at the market.
Yep.
They've got the snake, and he's the head guy's already like charging to have pictures taken. I'm like, oh well, this is gonna. What do you have? 14 people are gonna get their
exactly.
Picture? This isn't a tourist town.
But hey, I will say, I forget. I think he was charging. I forget. I think he said $5 for a picture. And so they
$3.
Okay, $3. So yeah, I mean, he only has to get 5 of the 15 people to take a picture. He's made his money back.
Yeah.
And if he gets all of them to take a picture with it, bing, bam, boom, he just freaking tripled his profit.
Yeah, get the word out. People will be coming to the town just for that. But I love Burt. At this point, we have no reason to think that all these people are dead is because of the snake monster.
Yeah.
Burt, the snakes are coming. He's making plans already.
Yep. Loading up. Him and his wife. They're going. And this is where, once again, so many questions. Because they make it very clear that they're attracted to vibration. And that they seem to be pretty, like, not long range, but I mean, pretty long range to be able to follow them back to the town and stuff. And so I just feel like they established, like, so basically Burt and his wife went out when they were looking for the doctor and stuff. They went out at the same time. After they found the doctor, our leads go out to find the college student chick.
Yep.
Find her, spend the night, which we'll come back to this, but still, spend the night on a rock. And then half the day get into her car and get back to town. And Burt and his wife still aren't back. They don't show up till like later that evening. I feel like if you were driving around in your car all day, a car that makes nonstop vibrations, like those worms should have found you. Like, I was just like, how did they get back to town? Like, they have no idea what's going on there. Basically, and I was like, how do the worms not find them? They were making the most vibration out of anybody for that period of time. But anyways,
we're going to talk about vibration with these people, with the Gummers.
Yeah. So anyways, like I said, they go out to find the student chick, Rhonda.
Yep.
And in the process, they end up with our first encounter directly with a graboid. With them basically riding their horses. Oh no, they weren't trying to find her. That's right. They were trying to ride horses.
They were trying to get to Bigsby to get help because they still,
horses,
at this point, they still think it's a murderer of some sort. They don't know that it's a. People are jumping to conclusion that there's a creature out there, but they don't know it yet.
Yeah. So they're riding the horses to get to Bigsby, and the horses panic because they can sense something's wrong. And as always, for me as a kid, this was one of the saddest scenes when one of the horses died. I was just
graphically being eaten by a graboid.
We never find out. I mean, I'm assuming they probably ran off and got killed. But we never do see what happened to the second horse. Maybe it made it to Bixby.
It definitely outran the graboid.
But anyways, yeah, so they get stranded and they're in the middle and they run towards like a little concrete reservoir.
What is this about? What is this
know.
channel in the desert about?
I have no idea what it is, but it's very convenient that it's there because they jump into it and the graboid smashes its head directly into it and dies. And this is where we get our first look at one.
Graboid.
And it's basically just it's like a weird worm with a beak mouth.
Yep.
And then tentacle snakes.
Yeah,
in
very
its mouth.
Dune.
Yeah, it's very Dune. I mean, I think
I'd be searching for spice immediately. Dune was out at this point, okay?
You're just like, oh my gosh.
There's immortality and space travel in them there hills.
Yeah. But yeah, we basically, like I said, get to see it. Conveniently, Rhonda shows up because he just happened to be around with her seismograph, reading that they're out there. I feel like also her not running into any worms.
Yeah.
When she's been out this whole time, while everything else has been going on.
Earlier when she's like burying her equipment in the ground. By the way, not burying it anywhere near deep enough. It's just on the surface.
It's like maybe a 2-foot.
Yeah, just enough to put it under dirt.
Yeah, get some dirt on top of it. And so that's the thing is they make it very clear that the graboids will chase their prey pretty far, and also are very patient. So I'm just like you said, we see in that scene earlier that one was like right at her car door, and I just feel like, how'd she get away? Why didn't that thing chase her down to wherever she stopped again next and eat her? That thing is her and Burt and his wife. I'm like, how'd you guys survive?
Yeah,
alone. Once everybody teams up, it starts making more sense. But those three characters, I'm like, nah. If it wasn't for plot armor, you guys are deader than that.
There's a really great scene that happens around here where Burt's just walking. Sorry, Earl. Earl's just walking and he trips and freaks the hell out. I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what would happen. If you just found this thing, you knew that there were monsters underground, and you trip on something, you're gonna be like, ah!
Yeah, no, I feel it in that exact same thing. It's a paradoxical, and I'm like, oh no, I would have that exact same reaction though.
I would not trust walking. I'd be terrified of walking if I knew these things were under there. It's like swimming with sharks.
Yep,
man. Except they're hungry.
Yep, and they'll stop at nothing. But yeah, they get chased by some graboids, end up on some rocks. And we get this scene that doesn't make much sense to. Well, after they end up staying the night there because they find.
By the way, they stay on the rocks for 13 hours. Way too long.
Yeah.
I would not stay on the rock for 13 hours. I'd find another.
They spend the night there.
I would find an alternate. By the way, they freeze to death.
Yeah.
It gets very cold at night in Nevada in the wide open. They would freeze to death.
But hey, he gave her his jacket.
Well, he'd be dead. She would be alive. The other two would be dead.
Earl had his jacket on still. Earl was fine. No. Just Val's dead. But no. So they do this, what is it, pole vaulting from rock to rock.
Yeah.
To get out of there. And I'm just, even kid me was like, but can't the graboid just grab the stick?
There's a lot of problems here.
They're like, yeah, we just will stay up here. And I'm just like, one is also, I feel like you could just jump.
You could just run.
Between the rocks.
You could just run.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's where I'm like, can't you just run?
You throw a rock on the other side of the boulder, and then you run to the other rock, and then you just do that. First of all, convenient poles.
Yeah. Why were these here?
Yeah, conveniently there's 3 poles there of the right size.
I think there was actually 5 total.
Well, just right next to these random boulders in the middle of nowhere.
Yep, just happened to have them there.
Also, pole vaulting, not easy.
No, there's a reason
you gotta train for that.
It's a highly skilled Olympic sport.
Yeah, I don't think that I could do this.
Even if you once, like I said, and you
gotta have grip strength.
Gotta have grip strength. You gotta have good core so you can hold on. There's a lot that goes into it.
I mean, it is funny because Earl tries to do it and he falls flat on his back. Yeah, but still, I
just feel like the grab. Sure, you're not putting your foot in the ground, but the stick still makes a vibration, and it gets there pretty quick. I feel like it grabs a stick, and even if you make it to the next rock, you just lost your stick, and now you're on rock number 2. So I was like this scene even kid me. Because I remember back to when I first I was like, hold up. I don't see how this is any better. But whatever. They make it. They pole vault from rock to rock till they get to the truck. And then they get in the truck. C goes through the back window, doesn't get all the way in, starts the car, and puts your hand on the gas and go. Conveniently, and like I said, it's because there's someone actually driving the truck. Conveniently, somehow C actually manages to steer and stay on the road in this scene. And I was like, how? But, movie magic.
Anyway, they get back to
They
town.
get back to town. Yep.
And
so real quick, actually, this scene proves my whole thing about you could just outdrive them.
Yep.
And get to where you need to, because the fact that they were able to drive, like they didn't drive the whole way back to town with her hand and foot or hands on the gas. Like, he obviously stopped somewhere, got out, got in the truck proper, and drove back. So I'm like, okay, so you were able to do that. You were able to drive a good enough distance to know they weren't going to catch you right away. Rearrange, get in the truck proper. So just do that again. Except drive to the mountains, and you'll get there. I don't know how much far. I'm assuming they weren't that far from the town, but let's say 2 miles from the town.
Well, I mean, that's their whole idea, is we got to get to the mountains.
Yeah, but they keep saying none of our vehicles are good enough to get us up into the mountains.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't need
I think the truck
vehicle.
could do that.
Yeah.
But you got to get over the mountains.
You
got to go up the Jeep trail. But that's why they have to wait for Burt to get back, because he has a truck that can do it.
Right, yeah. Anyways, they get back to town and basically start telling everybody about the worms. I gotta say, it takes people too long to realize, like, this whole, because like I said, we see that they aren't capable of getting through, like, full-on concrete.
Yeah.
By the reservoir. But, like, these houses, you can see, none of them have a solid foundation. And it takes people way too, or actually, even if it's not that, like I said, we have, what is it? Melvin goes out and is walking around. Like, if I was in a town where things were dying, and we already knew a bunch of sheep had died, a bunch of people have already died, and then someone comes into town and says, there's monsters under the ground, that's what's doing it, I'm immediately not going on the ground. But Melvin just goes outside. The mom and her daughter are just like, oh, the daughter, like, they go back to their house, and then, like, the daughter comes out on a pogo stick. And I'm like, did no one hear when they said giant worm monster under the ground? I am on the roof or the second story of any building I could possibly be as soon as that is said. But everyone's just kind of like, huh, interesting. You should probably do something about that. I'm like, get off the ground.
Yeah, for sure. So we got the kid fucking around and about to find out.
Yep.
He's pretending he's getting attacked.
Yep.
And then he really gets attacked.
Boy,
a cry wolf situation for sure.
I gotta say, I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong, Melvin's a deuce, but I gotta say, when Earl comes out and finds Melvin up a pole with his jeans ripped and bleeding, and Earl's just like, get down from there, Melvin. I'm just like, Earl, come on.
Well, he picks up pretty fast what's going on.
He does, but even I just feel like if I walk, don't get me wrong, Melvin has been doing a bunch of stuff. But I was like, I don't think Melvin would go so far as to cut his own leg and jeans and climb up a pole for a joke. Like, even Melvin has his line. And I feel like as soon as I saw that, especially knowing there's monsters on the ground, I'm like, oh, monsters are here.
Yeah. So the girl gets tangled up in some barbed wire and gets her pants ripped off.
Yep.
They really didn't take that in the direction I thought they would for an 80s movie. I was like, well, she's not going to have any pants for the rest of the movie. And they're going to be showing her ass the whole time.
And they got her a pair of pants and shoes.
They don't really do a big, scene about it, and then they give her some pants.
Yeah. Here's one thing, though, I will say throughout this, because that's as with almost every movie I mean, even to today, but it's a lot less ham-fisted than it was back in the day, is even if this is a movie about monsters in the ground, like, well, there's got to be a romance of some sort. But the thing is, I get, sure, maybe you want to put that story. But Earl, not that he directly says anything, but like when they sleep on the rock and Val and Rhonda end up snuggled up together. Yeah. When they wake up, Earl's looking like, And then like a little bit later when Val was patching her up, with her pantsless off because he had barbed wire, and then Val's like, Val, this is not a time for wingman.
You can see the look on her face. She's like, this is a little. I need pants right now.
But I'm just like, Earl, this is not the time to be like, come on, buddy, it's time. There are worms that are killing everybody, and there is. I get that the story wants them to fall in love, but I'm just saying, you as a character in this universe, Earl, what are you doing? Where you're
these are people that are like just a blink away from changing their entire life trajectory for free beer.
Yeah.
They will set it. They have a plan. They're getting ready to move.
Yeah.
Their truck is packed up, and they're like, nah, free beer. We'll stay in town.
No, they
move back
didn't
in.
take the beer.
But almost.
Yeah, they almost did.
They were
celebrating. They're like, we looked temptation in the eye, and we said no. But yeah, so after this, like I said, everybody basically. Well, we forgot to say Melvin should be dead. I just want to say that because everyone runs to shelter. The mom and the daughter, for some reason, go to their house, which I'm like, why would you never split the team up? But anyways, actually, before this, Melvin runs into a shed, and it's like the flimsiest.
Yeah, it's an
shed
outhouse.
Yeah, I'm like, that does not, but also before this, and this is one of the times where I'm just like, Val, what are you doing? Is how Val ends up tangled up in the barbed wire. We didn't touch on this. Is her and Earl are standing together outside when the worms are coming, and they're standing there. The store is to their right. The store they were just in, the store that they feel, I mean, later on they found out it's not, but feel like they'll be safe in. It's to the right, and to the left is the outhouse. And the worm starts coming at them, so they run. And I'm just like, why did Val run away from the store she was just in? She runs, Earl runs back and gets there with plenty of time where he opens the door and, come on, or not Val, her name's Rhonda. But he looks back like, come on, Rhonda. And for whatever reason, Rhonda ran the other direction. I'm just like, what? It's not like you didn't know the store. You had just come out of that store. So you go back to the store. You don't run away from it. But anyway.
Did you notice the little joke that they did with the pickaxe? So it's like the previous scene where one of the guys is like, "Oh man, if that thing comes after, one of those worms comes after me, or snake things comes after me, I'm gonna hit it with a 5-pound pickaxe." And that's what he attacks the graboid.
Yep.
What Kevin Bacon's character attacks the graboid with is a big pickaxe.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's a cool little callback.
But anyways, everybody gets to their location of safety, and everyone gets on the roof. And once again, like I said, they're on the roof of these worms.
That was another Chekhov's gun callback, by the way, with the rattling Pepsi Cola freezer. It's like it was rattling at the beginning of the movie, and then it does it, and it calls. That's what calls in the graboid that eats Chang, and then they all have to get onto the roofs and stuff.
And so, like, everybody gets the roof. And, like, I know I already hit on this, but like these graboids start destroying the foundation of this store and house, normal looking house. I mean, stuff. So once again, I'm just like, how is Melvin not dead?
Yeah,
because they were destroying physically well-built buildings, and he was on like a paper shack. So
it's an outhouse, okay? The graboids don't want to get dirty.
Yeah, okay.
So they're all on the various roofs and water towers and whatnot, and then the Gummers come home.
Yep.
They look through the binoculars like, everybody's on the roof?
Yep.
What's going on?
Man.
Go down into their basement, and immediately she turns on a loud vibrating machine.
Yes.
Before he makes a radio call. How important is this bullet vibrating machine?
Yeah.
That you can't wait for the call to be over. You can't run it tomorrow.
My question, though, is why does it take them so long to relay this information to them? Like, they're like, first they tell them just to get on their roofs, which I'm like, no, you don't start with that. You start with, there's giant worms in the ground. That's what's killing everybody getting your roof. But it takes them so long to get this information that I mean, they might have still picked this to stand their ground, because that's kind of what their characters are, that we're going to fight these things. So they might have still picked it. But by the time they relay that there's giant worms that are killing everybody underground, they're already there. It's already too late. These worms subscribe to the classic movie villain thing of one at a time.
Yeah.
Because, like, they attack the worms in the basement, and they have so many guns. This is 100% America right
here.
Yeah. And it is grabbing more, each gun one after another. But the whole time I'm like, yeah, why is they barely win. They barely kill this one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
they should be coming in from all sides. Yeah.
I'm like, why the other two? Because at this point there was 4 total. We lost the first one when it crashed its head into the concrete at the whatever the hell that thing is in the desert. So there's still 3, and they make it clear that all 3 are in town. And for whatever reason, they're like, this one will attack. We don't need the other 2. We'll just sit back, because they should be dead.
Yeah,
they should just be dead.
They're firing off handguns, machine guns,
assault rifles,
elephant guns.
They get it.
They would not hear a single thing for days.
They're in their basement.
They would be. You fired a gun in the real life?
I fired a bunch, but when I was in Boy Scouts, and I still remember to this day because it was deafening, is you could get a merit at a camp when you get a rifle merit badge, but then if you wanted to, there was black powder, it's not rifles, and those, like, you had to be a certain age, which I was just there. I had just made it, but you couldn't use those for your merit badge training. Those were just like, hey, you want to shoot one?
Yeah.
And those ones, like the rifles were using, I think it was like a small 22 or something. You put in some ear plugs.
Yeah.
For the black powders, like, no, earplugs, and then you put some sound canceling headphones on. And even still then, those things, like, they were hella, and that was in an open range, not in a basement.
No. If you're out in the middle of flat open fields, you fire a gun, your ears will ring.
Yep.
People who have never been around a gun firing and have only seen it on TV and movies have no concept of how insane insanely loud it is. Think of the loudest concert you've ever been to and times it by 10.
Yep.
It is so loud.
Yep. Yeah, they are deaf. They
and you do that in an enclosed space, you've got problems.
Yeah.
For life.
Your hearing is effed
Yeah.
for the rest of your life.
So I'm not sure which version you watched, but I got the Mother Humper version.
Oh, I also did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm wondering if there's a Mother Effer version out there, because it had to have been what it was, and then they overdubbed it for like TV or something.
Yeah.
You remember back in the back in the 90s and the early aughts when they would go and overdo like a bad word with something else.
Sometimes
the bleeping is the way to go.
But sometimes the overdubbed ones
it
were
was
just
obvious.
a gem to watch, because this would be the best thing. Oh, I can't remember what movie. There's one movie that actually, I cannot remember what it was, but I just remember as a kid, and even later on, me and my friends all agreed that the overdubbed version was superior. Just because, hearing a guy say motherfucker, you're like, okay, yeah. But when he was like out here being like, Mary and Joseph, you're just like, there's no way.
Obviously recorded in a studio or just called in by phone, or a completely different voice.
Yeah, like, just it's not even his voice, it's somebody else. Like,
by the way, Mother Humper is worse than Motherfucker.
Yeah.
That Mother Humper just sounds so bad.
So we get basically they kill one worm, so we're down to 2. Now everybody's on their roofs, and they really have no plan at this time. They're just like, you're all up here, and then the worms start destroying buildings.
Yep.
Which once again, I'm like, so how strong are these things? I mean, also, most basements are concrete.
Yeah.
So earlier, one blasts its wall into a concrete wall, dies, but then get into Burt's basement, perfectly fine, able to keep fighting. And then they're like, it's like, what?
Well, it took some damage. That was like a sideway.
Yeah.
That wall's not for like exterior stability. Not like the concrete channel and stuff.
I want to know
what I don't understand is like the store has a concrete block on it. How did it burrow through in the earlier?
Well,
in the thing?
It looked like the store had concrete at the corners.
Oh, gotcha. But maybe not the whole thing.
I don't think the whole thing. I think it was like set on some concrete blocks. But anyways, so they devised this plan to get this tractor that they have in town,
the bulldozer,
and attach it to a dump truck that is or a dump trailer that's all the tires are flat, and they're just going to drag that to the mountain. I'm like, this thing doesn't. I don't know how far these mountains are, but even if this plan succeeded, that was going to be a long drive.
Yeah,
but they're
in a metal trailer.
Yeah, in the
Nevada heat,
you're cooking.
Yeah.
You are cooking.
It's 110 degrees outside.
But anyways, so they're the way they're going to do this is they realize that they move according to vibration. So, and I have questions. They, for whatever reason, on the side of this store, they have a ride-on lawnmower, and I'm like, what is that for?
What is it doing?
There is no grass within 100 miles of this place. Why is there a ride-on lawnmower?
It's just a small tractor, but who knows what it's,
maybe. But anyways, they start it up and send it off, and the monsters start to follow it. And this is once again where I question, okay, well, what is the speed and strength of these monsters? Because I feel like that was not a distraction. I feel like they would have gotten to it almost instantly.
Yeah.
Grabbed it underground. They pulled a whole station wagon underground. They would have pulled underground in like 2 seconds and either ate it or spit it back out. And that's the end of that. And I'm like, that's not just, but for whatever reason, they don't catch it immediately. And it runs until it stops and runs out of gas. So I'm just like, no.
By the way, I like to imagine that the station wagon lady still in there.
Alive, just.
Yeah. But maybe she probably suffocated.
But yeah.
I don't think that they ate her. I think she just like, they could have dug her out and maybe saved her. But they were just like, nah, we're just walking away.
Well, I mean, come on. I honestly probably wouldn't take the time to dig out that station wagon either. But anyways, and while we forgot to say, while the little tractor's going away, Val is running towards the big one. And after it dies, it starts chasing him down. And then he stops moving. And it just loses him. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they would just attack the last place vibration. But for whatever reason, they just completely don't know where he is. I'm like, I don't know. Once again, last place he was at. Like, even if you stop moving, they still know where you last wore. And I mean, not that.
By the way, these things would be super sensitive to vibration.
Exactly. That's the other thing is
So like, even when he's standing still and when he lifts his leg up, they would feel that.
They would.
That's
the other thing I was gonna say is like these things live underground hunt completely solely by vibration. If it was only like major vibrations, they would never catch anything. So I'm like, no, they have to have extremely sensitive sense. But for whatever reason, we're just like, nope. If you stop moving, you're like, I mean, by that logic, you could survive them just by having a group of people run, and then whichever one is coming after it, you stop, and everyone else keeps running, and then as it gets closer to somebody else, you just keep alternating. Someone runs, stop, and then someone else runs, stop, and just make sure it's spread out, so it has to keep going back and forth. Like, these things aren't actually like if by the logic they show in this video. In this movie, I think they're more dangerous than this. But by that logic, you could easily escape these things just by spreading out and alternating running.
Yeah.
And when it gets too close, you stop. Now your buddy starts running. It goes over there.
Walk without rhythm. Stops. You won't attract the worm, man.
I'm just like, yeah. But for whatever reason, it stops, and they attract it with water hitting the ground.
Yep.
And then he starts up a giant bulldozer, and they just ignore that. I'm just like, come on, we got to have some sort of semblance of sense here. If all these things are attracted by vibration, and it seems to be the severity of the vibration which really attracts it, that tractor is way more attention grabbing than a water sprinkling on the ground. So I'm just like,
also they're like, oh, they can't lift the tractor. They don't gotta.
Yeah,
they just suck it underground, man.
Mm-hmm. Which they do later.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just
also they're gonna take the tractor to drive to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Gasoline,
or
diesel or whatever this thing uses, it's got to be like, I don't know, 2 gallons a mile.
I was about to say, as you joked about the truck they were driving, I'm like, this tractor gets way worse gas mileage. But yeah, so and also that's the thing. So he starts up the tractor, and then has to hook up the trailer to it. And while this is happening, I'm like, they should be all over him right now. But because
they had to get out of the tractor to hook that thing up.
Yeah. He magically pulls it off. We collect up everybody except for Burt and his wife because they're all farther away. And so they get over to Burt and his wife, and Burt and his wife are taking their time. And I'm just like, you know what's up. You see it. One is that tractor didn't get there immediately. You saw us coming.
Yeah.
We were coming for a bit. You used to be like, oh, they're coming to pick us up.
They armed. They stuffed bags with, ammo and weapons and stuff, and they're, putting together bombs. But I'm like, these people already have bombs made.
Oh, 100%.
They've got sticks of dynamite. They got grenades.
Yeah.
They got rocket launchers.
Yeah, Burt. I feel like after we see Burt's arsenal in his basement, the fact that he had to make these pipe bombs, you have a stash of pipe bombs just there.
And it's not like he's not against illegal arms, because he's got an Uzi, he's got an AK-47, he's got an M16.
Yep.
He definitely has grenades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or charges for demolition. Like,
he probably has some claymores.
Claymores.
Plastic explosive. He's ready, or he should. What we see, he should be ready. But no. But yeah. So we get off, and I really liked what you pointed out there. I didn't even think about this, but yeah, even if this plan works, you are in the middle of the Nevada desert in a metal tube.
Yeah.
Like, you are cooking. You are literally cooking humans.
Touching that metal on that thing would be so hot.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, all you're doing is cooking yourself up for some worms to eat. They like them fried.
Tenderized.
Apparently.
The Mylar reaction.
But anyway, see, and here's the thing. These worms obviously learn.
Yeah, they get one. At least one of them's kind of like the raptor from Jurassic Park.
Because I'm just like, one is, so like I said, as pointed out, they can't lift the tractor. So they discover it's funny, while they're driving, what are they doing over there? I don't care. They're doing it over there. It's other freaking builder or digging a hole. But anyways, they strategize. We're gonna make a hole to capture that thing. And then also think about afterwards when one of them blows up from a pipe bomb. The next one is like, oh, pipe bomb's bad. I'll spit that out of them. So like, these things are smart.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, with how many times something dumb happens where I'm like, I don't think that how it work. Like, these worms are thinking. I feel like there's just so many scenes. I'm just like, nah, the worms got you. The worms got you here.
So they take down the tractor and they go and they run for the rocks and get on the rocks. I do like the audacity of Kevin Bacon calling Burt Gummer's character String Bean.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not Arnold Schwarzenegger over here, Kevin Bacon.
I'm like, come on, Kevin. And then I also like when Kevin threatens Burt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, no offense, Kevin. I'm just going to. But if this fight breaks out, I'm going Burt all the way. You know why? Because Burt has all the weapons.
That's right.
Just like
He's
Kevin.
got he knows he's got a dozen ways to kill a man with his bare hands.
I'm just like Burt. Also, Burt's been preparing for this his whole life.
Yeah.
Like, this is. I mean, Burt even kind of alludes to it a little bit. He's like, they're sitting on the rocks, and Burt's like, if it comes down to starving, I'm gonna take some pipe bombs, light them, and walk out there. I'm like, this is Burt's dream. This is definitely This is in Burt's book.
I like Raven McIntyre's character. She's like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Like,
even she's like,
she's like, damn, Burt. Like, what the hell? Like, he's gonna leave me alone.
I mean, see, apparently leaves Burt alone. So Raven McIntyre doesn't show up in any other movies, and I was trying to figure out.
I mean,
I'm wondering.
Would she?
I know, but I'm just trying to figure. I'm wondering if they. So Tremors 2 takes place in Mexico. And it's Earl, so we get 2 returning characters. Earl goes down, gets hired by some people to go deal with their graboid problem. And once it gets out of hand, he calls in Burt to help him. So I can understand why Burt might show up without his wife there. But in Tremors 3, they're back in perfection. Yeah. And I'm just like, what happened to your wife?
Yeah.
But they don't tell you in the synopsis on Wikipedia. I'm like, probably have to watch to find out. Did she leave him? Did she leave Burt because he's crazy? Because Burt's obsessed with graboids and won't leave him alone. So anyways, they're stuck on the rock. After Burt talking about he'll walk out there and blow himself up, they devise the genius plan to attract the worms to eat the pipe bombs. And the one thing I thought at this point is, why did it take you so long?
Yeah.
Like, they made the pipe bomb and they were using them as a distraction, and I'm just like, I could think of other things. Like I said, I would be like, let's see if we can get these pipe bombs inside one of them worms. But so
I'm strapping a pipe. I'm duct taping a couple of these to the kid, to the young man, and pointing a gun at him and saying, "Walk."
Yes. Nobody needs a Melvin. Anyways, and it's not like anybody's gonna be asking questions. Yep. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so they fish one out there. They get it into one of the graboids, and it blows up. And like I said, these worms are obviously smart because which I love that it just happens to be the same graboid, the one that they tore off one of his tentacles. That's the one that's like the most persistent and survives. But that one figures out
he's got more brain power. He's not wasting part of his brain on one tentacle.
Yeah. The less tentacles the graboids have, the more brain power they can use. No. But anyways, he discovers, he's like, oh, I'm not going to eat the pipe bomb. He actually not only does he not eat it, he spits it like directly at him to make him scatter and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just saying this worm seems to be pretty smart.
Yeah.
Putting stuff together.
Not smart enough.
Planning. But yeah, and so they start running, and this scene doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They're running away, and apparently Valve has his first plan of the whole movie. That was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing that Val doesn't plan, while Earl does. But his plan, and they run along with him, and his plan is basically to he runs to a cliff, and he throws a bomb, because the graboids are scared of the bombs, and they go off, to make the graboid charge off the cliff.
Yep.
And this does work. My question is this. All 3 of them run, and then when they see that he throws the bomb, it blows up, and they see that the graboid is panicky, Earl and Rhonda get the hell out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Val stands there till the last minute to make a last-minute jump out of the way, but I'm like, why? It wasn't coming for you.
Yeah.
It was running
You're
from
not
the bomb.
moving. We've already established that if you're not moving.
So I'm like, you were just standing there because you wanted to. Honestly, it literally is like he wanted to have a cool last-minute jump out of the way scene. That's the whole reason. Because like it was going off the cliff whether you were there or not.
Yeah.
The bomb scared it. But yes, he successfully scares the graboid to charge out of the cliff and fall to its death.
Yep.
Kind of a lame way to end it.
Hey, they win, you know.
I'm just like, I think blowing up the graboids with this pipe bombs was cooler. I feel like
I wanted the graboids to win. They're the home team.
I mean, I could root for the graboids.
Well, let's talk about the graboids because this is the end of the movie. Happy ending. He gets the girl. Nobody gets to Bixby.
No,
staying in town, whatever.
Yeah, where everybody's. I mean, here's the thing, though.
I mean, everyone's got to leave, right? All the houses are screwed up.
Yeah.
The store's done for.
Yeah.
There's too many questions to answer.
You've already
to the cops.
lost half of the population, anyways.
Her internship is screwed.
Yeah. I mean, they make it sound like they're going to be famous because they're going to reveal these worms. So maybe that's it. And actually, that's part of the talk.
I mean, I guess you have evidence,
with the sequels in the second movie. And this is like, why are we being so mean to Earl? because in the second movie, basically, it's like I said, it's Earl and Burt are the only two returning characters, and the story is that they got Earl, Rhonda, and Val got rich off of they're the ones who found it. And Val and Rhonda got married and moved off somewhere. And Earl squandered all his money and is broke and stuck in perfection. I was like, poor Earl. It's like, come on, Earl had it all. Why is he still in perfection? But, that's what it is. He started a ostrich farm, which failed because who needs ostriches in the middle of Nevada? But anyways, so I'm just like, come on, Earl.
Certainly not for the eggs.
But anyways. Let's talk about the graboids.
So it's such an interesting monster. It's I'm assuming in later movies there's more explanation, but at least in the first one, no explanation of where they come from, why they're there, why they're hunting,
why they're just showing up now.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that earlier on Rhonda brings up is like, well, we have no fossils of these things, say from before.
They're prehistoric, yeah.
And I'm just like,
I think
but
in
where
like the
have they
second
been?
movie, I'm remembering that
I think they
mentioned
do,
that they're prehistoric.
Yeah, at some point. But I really like actually during that scene, like I'm on Team Earl, and they're all like giving the vows, like maybe the government created them, and then Earl's maybe they're aliens. Honestly, I'm leaning towards that just because we, like I said, if they've been here the whole time, where they been?
Yeah.
And so the fact, but now they're just showing up, so I'm like, I'm kind of.
And if
Earl.
they can't sense when they're gonna drive off a cliff or into a hard substance, why are they alive?
Yeah,
they would run into rocks and stuff and just die all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. The human civilization with all the foundations we built,
my assumption is they're trapped where they're at because they say
mountain range around.
Yeah, because there's no way in or out except for the one road, and it goes through mountains.
Yeah,
and then there's like a jeep trail, and she talks about how all the mountains and stuff around it are a certain kind of rock, like limestone or something that they're not going to be able to travel through.
Right. So maybe but that still doesn't explain these people have been in perfection for a while.
Yeah.
Why is it just now? It's not like this movie set it up as if
the road
they
workers
had all just moved. Yeah. Like you said, maybe it's a little bit nostalgia, but I enjoyed.
I think it still holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a movie of its time.
Yeah.
But I think it's well deserved of its 7.1 rating on IMDb.
Yep.
I'm really glad I watched it again. It was much better. I thought it was going to be really cringe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
This is probably the first time I've watched it probably haven't seen this since I was a teenager. So probably like 2 decades, honestly. Yep. And like I said, I went into this thinking you probably see this as a lot better of a movie than it was. But no, like you said, it's a solid
it's a watch.
7.
Yeah. As always, you can find us on our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, I will say this. While Tremors is a solid 7 and a watch, I will say, even though we didn't watch all of them, I'm banking the sequels are at least a steady, if not fast, decline in quality.
Well,
I think Tremors 2 did come out in theaters. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
But I'm pretty sure.
No, they were all direct-to-video sequels.
Okay.
Yeah. It is also worth plugging. Friends of the podcast, Rotten Treasure.
Oh, yeah.
They did the entire Tremors series. They don't do it as in-depth as we do. They kind of have a more free-flowing thing, but definitely if you want to interested in hearing more about those movies, worth checking them out and listening to their series on that.
Yep. Anyways, we are, like I said, we're kind of going to be doing some different stuff. I think our next episode we're going to introduce you guys to an interesting YouTube channel that
Omeletto.
I wasn't going to drop the name.
Well, I mean, we know what it is.
I was going to leave it mysterious, so they got to come back for the next episode, Robert. But anyways, yes, we're going to be kind of doing a little dive on an interesting channel we found, Omeletto. And then we're going to be trying a couple different things while we're waiting to see what show hits our fancy next. So stay tuned for that. Give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.